I'm Luke. Today on Out of Darts, we're going to check out the Nerf Rival Charger. Hasbro surprised us just before Christmas, releasing both the Takedown Rival Shotgun and the Bull-pup style Nerf Rival Charger. This one kind of came out of nowhere. We saw leaks on it a few months ago and did not have to wait long. It is very clearly styled along the lines of a Bull-pup firearm like a P90. I very much like the styling of this, and I'll say right from the beginning of the video that I think this is one of the better buys of the year. After the disappointment of the Nerf Ultra 1, I was really happy to see the next few products in the Rival series at least be considerably more value and better designed overall. So this blaster, for me, feels like a direct replacement of the very first flywheel blaster in the series, and that's the Zeus. It's got 12-round internal magazine capacity, and you load through the top. You can get 2 in here very easily. The blaster comes with 24 rounds, which is a nice treat compared to the rest of the series, which has always included exactly the amount of ammo to load the blaster. It has a very sleek form factor, and I'm going to get back into that in a little bit too, because it's actually one of the narrowest Rival blasters to date. And there are a couple downsides to that, but overall I think that's a really good move on Hasbro's part. I like the look and feel of this blaster. The ergonomics are fairly decent. I think the little bit of texture that's on the stock here makes that grippy enough. I might actually throw a piece of grip tape on here to further solidify that onto my shoulder. It's got a nice sleek profile, very cool look, very compact. The rev trigger is a little bit recessed, which for me actually has a pretty good feel. The grip overall is very nice. I would give it sort of a 4 out of 5 stars as far as the grip feeling. It's not quite as comfortable as, say, the Perseus or the Chaos and Nemesis, but it does do the job quite nicely. The triggers are not as offensive as some of the others like the Perseus, though I do find that my adult hands tend to rub the base of my trigger finger right in this little gap right here. There's a piece of flashing there where the two parts of the grip meet together, and the shape of the trigger slopes my finger down here. So I may end up redesigning a little bit of piece there, but that is a really minor complaint overall. I think the blaster feels very good. The Charger comes in at a $35 price point. Keep in mind that does not include the 6C batteries you will need to power this. The nice thing about the 6C tray is you will have tons of room with no modification or battery tray needed to add a LiPo 3S battery inside. The 2200 milliamp packs that are all over my site will all fit in here. There's basically no battery I currently sell that does not fit in here right away. I will be doing a mod guide on this because it is a really cool little blaster, and I think finally seeing something under the $100 price point is really, really nice. Now, I'm going to sidestep here and talk about the packaging, because we did see a few things here, and thanks to my buddy Drac for pointing a few of these out, because I certainly would have missed at least this little sticker. Hilariously enough, for those who haven't seen Drac's video already, there is a sticker here that says 95 feet per second. And I believe, yep, like Drac said, if you peel it back, it's a little hard to see because I ruined it, but it underneath actually said 100 FPS. Now, this does not use and is not compatible with any of the rechargeable battery packs that Hasbro sells. I do think that's a bit unfortunate, but I completely understand why they didn't do it. It just wouldn't fit in this blaster. We would have had to make this stock both considerably wider and considerably longer, and I think it would have made the blaster both more expensive and just more uncomfortable, because even for my adult size hands, this feels correct for a Bull-pup. It feels really, really solid in my hands. I'm a little disappointed there's, as usual, no paint on the other side. I do think it's rather hilarious that when you look at the back of the packaging, on the left side of the blaster this dude is holding, they're showing Rival letters that are not there. So in genuine Hasbro fashion, we're seeing that they kind of misadvertise things here and there. I get why they do it. They want everybody to see that there's Rival, that it's Rival. It looks good. I'm a little confused why these guys on this box, one guy has the regular mask, the other guy has the flip color mask where you can actually change the color of team you're on. I guess he just remembers that he's blue and his is optional. I think it's kind of weird to not put the paint on the side and show it in photos and to show it on online literature, but that's a pretty minor complaint overall. The blaster does perform, as it says, around 95 feet per second. I think it will hit standard rival performance when modified to 3S, probably be able to bump it up to about 125, 130. Definitely going to do a full guide on this in January. I think I'm going to fast track it as my next project because it is a really, really cool looking blaster. And lucky for me, Target had only the best color in stock, blue. So I'm happy to see that as well. On to a few other unique observations about this blaster. It's got the Artemis style loading, but it has been greatly improved, a little bit like the Hades, where you can get at least 2 rounds in here at a time. I find it very fast and efficient to load. I think this is going to be a really, really fun blaster to play with. Up front, we have a nice chunky foregrip. It actually feels quite good in the hand. I honestly don't think I'm going to make any changes there, though I did consider replacing this little panel with maybe like a thumb hole or something, maybe a thumb hole stock even. I don't know. I think it aesthetically looks super cool, and it might actually be the next blaster that I paint because a friend has offered to paint my Perseus for me, so that might make this the next one. One of the more unique things that I haven't seen anybody touch on is the fact that this blaster is one of the very few that is actually symmetrical in all but one way, and if you looked at that first shot and are paying attention, you could probably see it. So the Hasbro engineers here chose to do an off-center barrel. And this is something I've been fighting with in my own designs, trying to figure out how to make a blaster symmetrical while still having this extra bulk of the 360 motors that have to fit in this blaster. So this off-center barrel basically allows the flywheel cage to fit inside of this symmetrical shell, whereas a blaster like the Zeus, for instance, had a big square hump on the side, which is far from elegant when you look at the two compared to each other. A little bit hard to see because I do have a Hurricane mod on those, but I think it's a really great choice. I think in reality, having the balls flying just a few millimeters, I'd say that's about 10 millimeters off center, really not that big of a deal, and I think the aesthetic gain that you get out of that with a symmetrical blaster and not some awkward hump on one side is well worth the sacrifice. One other note that I was really surprised to see that we have never seen in a rival flywheel blaster, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but that is a safety feature. My adult hands given have longer fingers than most people, but I can touch I'm not gonna do it, but I can get my finger, this is just my pointer finger, and you can see I can get my finger into the flywheels. All of the rival blasters up until now have had too much of a recess here to be able to get a finger in there, and I assumed this was always a safety precaution for kids. Now, I expect kids have shorter fingers, like my pinky, for instance, which can't reach the flywheels, but I just thought it was an interesting observation. I like it because it makes the blaster shorter. I'm glad there isn't some extra beefy muzzle up front here because I am very much a form over function kind of nerfer. I also wanted to mention that I think the trigger pull itself is among the best of any of the flywheel blasters that aren't fully electronic. The Zeus has a very tough trigger pull. It requires a lot of force. This is at least half the force, and I think it's a dramatic improvement. So my hat's off to the Hasbro engineers for really tweaking this and improving their systems over time. Overall, I am just thrilled with this blaster. I think it's going to be a very popular one just because of how it looks. It could be a fun secondary. It's a little bit of a tough primary with only 12 shots, but you know, some people might come up with some cool ammo mods or something for it. It certainly is a candidate for the proton pack. It would not be difficult to make a nice little adapter that comes into here or perhaps out the side, but that will be for early next year. If you're interested in the proton pack, it is still coming. I promise it is my very first priority for Q1 2020. I will get it out next year. There are both injection molds and custom motors that had to be made in order to release the pack, and we should have that coming very soon. I'd love to know your thoughts on the Charger. Again, I'm not a review channel, but I think this is a really, really cool blaster, and I love seeing something unique, different, and new from Hasbro, rather than a reshell, a reskin, or just a plain cash grab. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm out of darts.